Binders, the big buzzword of this debate. We're talking about that with the team this morning. Welcome back to Early Start. We're happy you're with us. I'm Zoraida Sambolin.
And I'm John Berman. It is 32 minutes after the hour right now, and 2 presidential debates down, 1 to go, with President Obama turning in a decidedly stronger performance against Mitt Romney during last night's town hall. The viewers, they seem to agree. CNN's post-debate poll showing the president taking the top spot over Mitt Romney, 46% to 39%. Now compare that with the first presidential debate. It's a much different story. That one had Romney on top, a whopping 67% to 25%.
And we're going to be bringing you up-to-the-minute analysis all morning long and looking ahead to the third and final debate next week, which will be the candidates' last chance to make their cases to the American electorate. So with us now are CNN contributor and Republican strategist Anna Navarro, Richard Socarides, former senior advisor to President Bill Clinton, and writer with TheNewYorker.com, senior congressional correspondent Dana Bash, and CNN contributor Roland Martin. We've got them all for you.
All kind of titles flying around.
All right, so let's start with reaction, Richard. I'm going to start with you. Reaction on President Obama and how he did.
Well, I thought he had a terrific debate. I mean, I thought the debate overall was probably the most interesting debate I've ever seen in my lifetime, but I think the president made a strong case for why he deserves a second term. He presented clearly 2 contrasting visions for the country. I think when you looked at this, it was clear to anybody who was undecided going into this. I don't know if there's anybody undecided left, but if you were undecided going into this, I think it was clear who you'd want running the country and who has a better vision going forward.
Anna?
There are still undecideds left. I'm convinced the undecideds are going to be undecided until they got to decide. I think it was a good night for Mitt Romney. It was a better night for President Obama. And a large part of that was that he was being compared to President Obama from the first debate, and he was incredibly much better. And also that the expectations on him were so very much lower. So I think those 2 things benefited him tremendously. And I think as we do more of this post-debate, it's looking better and better for President Obama.
So let's talk about those expectations, because we actually have a poll here. 73% said that he did better than expected. 37% said the same of Romney. Obama back on top here, or has he just evened the field again?
I hate it when I agree with these polls because it makes me feel so objective. You know, when I agree with what the poll results are.
You are objective.
My partisanship is just, you know.
Well, first of all, anytime I hear folks talk about low expectations, high expectations, that drives me crazy. Here are 2 folks running for office of the president. We should have extremely high expectations for both.
Well, this was just a comparison to the last debate, right?
I understand, but both sides love playing down when they don't think it's going to actually go well. I still believe, though, last night was critically important for Mitt Romney. He needs to keep the momentum going because, again, when you look at the map, he has to sweep a significant number of battleground states. The president, I think, was extremely effective in being able to, frankly, stop the bleeding. That really started with Vice President Joe Biden. One of the first tweets I sent out last night was, looks like the president has the eye of the tiger, because he did not take long going right at Mitt Romney. He didn't ease into it. He didn't dance around. He understood he had to be on the attack early, but do it in a respectful way.
And, you know, right as it started, the first time Mitt Romney really went after the president physically in a way that, I mean, especially I was in the room watching it, it made me kind of, you know, recoil a little bit because I wasn't really sure what was going to happen next.
I
got a text from a Republican strategist who was very much a Romney supporter saying, it looks like he drank what Joe Biden drank last week. It was very nervous about it because thought maybe he went over the top. Turns out the president gave back a lot of that. But when it comes to the whole question of likability, Mitt Romney had a lot more to lose.
I think President Obama learned lessons from both the debates. From his first debate, you know, he was clearly more engaged, clearly more responsive. He, you know, brought in his A game, but also I think he learned a lesson from Joe Biden. You didn't see any of the smirking, laughing, inappropriate reactions. He had a practiced look of, I'm listening intently and patiently, and I'm going to give it some seriousness.
We asked people last night who they found more likable. Debate watchers, they told us they found President Obama more likable. I think the margin was 47% to 40%. I think we have 41%.
41.
I was so close.
Yeah.
Anna, you said something earlier that I found really interesting. You said that as the analysis goes on, as we move through the morning and play back the clips and talk more about this, Obama's victory in this debate becomes more clear. Explain that to me, and I wonder if you guys agree.
Mm-hmm. Well, for example, we've in the last 2 hours seen a lot of the clip of the binder of women. I got to confess to you, I must have been bound to the TV because I totally missed that remark. We're seeing more we're seeing the clip of the Benghazi answer, which was one that I think benefited President Obama. We're seeing some of Obama's funny lines. Obama had his swagger back yesterday. He was funny. He was on his game. He clearly got under Governor Romney's skin. And I think the clips that we're seeing over and over again show that.
But the one clip that is huge, when Mitt Romney says, "I'm sorry, you get your opportunity." And also, that wasn't a question. Even though it is a debate, you're still talking to the President of the United States. And I've been looking at some of the other networks, other shows, reading different stories, and that also speaks volumes when people say, you might be running for president, but you still respect the office of president. And when it gets played a lot...
But the flip side of that is, we've been talking about undecided voters, how few there are. Mitt Romney standing up to the president like that, I mean, what excites the base? And more than that.
Yes, this is the base election.
I don't traditionally agree with Roland, and it worries me when I do. But I actually.
Oh, you know, you love it.
See,
I remember Mitt Romney doing the same thing with Rick Perry during the Republican primary, saying, you know, Rick, it's my turn. It's my turn. You got my turn. And I don't think that played well. I don't think it played well this time.
Richard, hang on one second, because I think you're going to like this next clip. Anna talked about it. It was the clip of the binder moment in women. Let's play that.
And I said, well, gosh, can't we find some women that are also qualified? And so we took a concerted effort to go out and find women who had backgrounds that could be qualified to become members of our cabinet. I went to a number of women's groups and said, can you help us find folks? And they brought us whole binders full of women.
Richard, binders full of women?
I mean, you know, what it demonstrates here and why these debates are important is because they're a window into what people are really thinking and how they operate. And here's a situation where, you know, it should have been readily apparent to anyone that there were plenty of qualified women, but they had to make this special effort. You know, here's Governor Romney trying to make the case for himself that he's for hiring women, but in doing so, he demonstrates that he's living in another world. I mean, you know, qualified women should be apparent to everyone, and why he has to go out and make this special effort to find women. You know, he's trying to make the case for himself.
That wasn't even the question.
Right, it wasn't even the question.
Right.
The question was about pay equity. He didn't even answer it.
I thought the president was stronger on this segment, but I still think he missed an opportunity. Had he turned to Mitt Romney and said, Mitt, can you answer the question finally? Would you have signed the Lilly Ledbetter Act? It would have put him on the spot because he, frankly, has danced around it. And when you're talking about white women, working class voters, Mitt Romney has been leading with them. The president has been leading with women in higher education. That is a critical issue when you talk about should you get paid the same amount as men.
I'm gonna just add one thing here, and you're a Massachusetts boy. You know this because you know Massachusetts politics. Especially covering Congress, the one thing I will say is there are not a lot of traditionally women politicians in the state of Massachusetts. There have been, you know, the lieutenant governor was a woman. I know there are Jane Swift, the governor, but by and large, you know, that's
an excellent point, because I thought, show me the binder full of women and show me if you paid them the same amount of money that you pay men.
That would be the answer.
That's what I wanted. In fairness, I've been in transition. I've been in transitions between governments, and it is not an uncommon thing to get binders full of applicants.
That are labeled women.
But the question wasn't about binders; it was about paying for women.
That was really the issue.
You get binders that say this is a binder full of qualified women. Here's special.
Yeah, we have binders full of really nice
ridiculous.
We're now bound by time, so that's going to have to be our last word here.
Way to go.
Dana Bash, Roland Martin, Anna Navarro, Richard Socarides in this clock that is beating down on us. Thank you.
You know what? I'm going to say that's very well done, because you've had very little sleep.
Actually, I like him sleepless. Sleepless in New York works for me.
So do I.
All right. All right,
No Red Sox references.
41 minutes.